Hey guys, good morning. I'm actually coming to you from my garden this morning. You can see these are kale plants behind me. They've done really well this year. Some of these are, I'm sitting down, but some of these are 4.5 feet tall. And I wanted to give you guys a quick reminder and ask you guys a question. And that question is this: what is the story that you're telling yourself? What's the story that you're telling yourself? And how is that story serving you? Because yesterday I was back here playing with my son, and I just glanced over at this garden, at these kale plants specifically, and I saw that they were completely overgrown. There was no room. They were just really overgrown. No room for air to flow through here. They were being eaten by these little like caterpillars. They destroy the leaves, and they just had holes in the leaves, and they were really unhealthy. And they just looked really bad. And based off of, I just glanced over and saw them, and based off of that initial response, just visually seeing that, just for that instant, I started to tell myself a story. And I tend to be a worst case scenario person, and here's the story, here's where I went with it. But I was like, oh, these are done, they're ruined, they're destroyed, there's no hope for them. And then based off of that story, I then started to formulate a plan and a response to that story. And my response was, we just need to tear them up by the roots and take them over into the corner of the yard, just throw them in the trash and be done with them. Because if we do that, then the garden bed will look better because it won't have dead plants in them. And then we can kind of have a clean slate and a fresh start, like an early start for next year, and things will be good. And that's where I took things with that. And fortunately, I talked myself off of the ledge. I kind of took a few deep breaths and took a step back. And I realized there's no need for a drastic response like that, because the bottom line is I knew that these plants still had a lot of life left inside of them. I mean, they were living. They just had a lot of dead leaves on them, ugly leaves. But there was a lot of potential inside of them. There was a lot of hope left to have like a harvest of kale in the fall when kale actually tastes good. And you know, the stories that we tell ourselves, that maybe you're telling yourself, they're going to do two things. They're going to protect you, and they're also going to prevent you. And that's exactly what that story that I started to tell myself was doing for me, because I knew that life was left inside of them, the potential was there, but that story was protecting me from having to do the work and the maintenance that I knew was necessary to keep these plants healthy, to allow them to bounce back to life. So it was protecting me, but at the same time, it was preventing me from actually reaping the harvest, a healthy harvest in the fall, by not putting in that work. So your story is going to protect you. It's going to also prevent you. And I want you guys to consider today, what's your story? You know, specifically as it pertains to your health. What's the story you've been telling yourself? I don't know, you might be like me, like, you know, your family, maybe you've seen so many people in your family taking medications, and as they get older, just generally their health declining. They're inactive, they're not able to do things and hobbies that they enjoy, and you've seen that you've started to identify with that, and you've told yourself the story that maybe you don't deserve to have different. You don't deserve to be healthy as you get old, and that's just the course that you're going to travel. Whatever it is, you know specifically what your story is, but how's that story protecting you from putting in the work that you need to put in to maybe have a different outcome? But then at the same time, what is that story preventing you from doing at the same time? So just consider that today. What's your story, and what's that protecting you from, and what's that preventing you from actually stepping into and becoming and enjoying as you get older? So I hope this finds you guys well. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.